It's not a huge gathering of Antifa on the other side, but they are there. I don't know if things are going to get violent. There's a heavy police presence, so we should be fine, God willing. Why do you hide your face? Why hide the face? No, you don't want to. All right. They don't want to ask. They don't want to ask any questions. What do you want?
Tomorrow I'll knock you out.
I was just recording. All I was doing was recording. Yes, sir. Officer, all I did was record. Officer, please, I didn't want to fight him. He just...
Oh my God.
Paul Miller, or Gypsy Crusader, is a notorious online figure known for saying and doing some insanely controversial stuff.
Riddle me this. I am loud and obnoxious. I like music that rhymes. I'm a fraction of the population, but I commit half the crimes. Who am I?
The Joker?
The answer is...
He's been described in the media as a quote neo-Nazi and white supremacist, and you've probably seen the clips of him on Omegle or Monkey app come across your TikTok or Instagram feed.
What's your relationship like with your father?
I don't have one.
You're not fat?
No, I'm in shape. Round's a shape.
Round's a shape. Round. You know something? Fair point. Round is a shape.
Obviously, this guy is a madman, but there's a lot more to Paul Miller than just being a racist neo-Nazi, and honestly, his story may surprise you. Paul was born August 11th, 1988 in New York City. It's unclear exactly what Paul's childhood was like, but one thing is clear: he loved to fight. In the year 2006, when Paul was 18 years old, he was arrested on aggravated assault charges. He ended up pleading guilty but was not given any prison time in his sentencing. Then, less than a year later, he was arrested again.
I was just recording. All I was doing was recording. Yes, sir. Officer, all I did was record. Officer, please, I didn't want to fight him. He got like this. I didn't know what he was going to do.
But this time it wasn't for fighting. In 2007, he was arrested on possession with intent charges, which, if you don't know, basically means he was found with drugs and the police believe he intended to sell the drugs, which gives the person in question a much harsher sentence. He wound up serving around 6 months for this charge and received 4 years of probation following his release from jail. Once Paul was out on probation, it seems that he wanted to change the path he was heading down, or so we thought, because 1 year later in 2008, Paul began training in Muay Thai, most likely in an effort to redirect his pent-up anger. After just 3 months of training and preparation, Paul had his first amateur fight. For a new fighter to only train a few months and get his coaches on board with a scheduled fight, Paul had to have had some natural talent. This claim was later backed up by the fact that Paul actually became the regional light heavyweight champion and the US national champion in the World Kickboxing Association. Despite Paul's immense success in the martial arts world, he would eventually be involved in a serious car accident that left him unable to compete for the rest of his life. Most people would be severely depressed for months after their career dreams were shattered, but Paul handled it pretty well and became a trainer/instructor at the gym he used to train at.
What's up, guys? Welcome to one of my first instructional videos that I'm going to do for everyone. Everyone has been asking me to do this for a while. A lot of people know I used to fight, and I want to train our people. So I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to start doing some little stuff like this. It's very difficult to train people like this with video, but at the very least you can watch it, have a reference.
Outside of martial arts, Paul was filling his time with different odd jobs, but after a few years of this, he began his journalistic era and set off a chain of events that would have him looking at 30 years in prison. Before Paul became the Gypsy Crusader, he was a self-described independent journalist.
What's up, everyone? All right, so the damage is extensive. This thing, it's like every other block is just wrecked. As you can see here, the left do not like CNN either. Destroy CNN.
He would upload these journalistic style videos to YouTube and other social media websites. The most widely viewed clips of Paul usually involved him going into a government or corporate building and confronting employees or politicians on the many different fraudulent activities they were being accused of, which honestly is pretty entertaining.
Sorry guys, I have to do this. CNN is fake news. They engaged in propaganda for 2 years against the American people. They need to be shut down. This place is a joke.
And I'm here to tell you that you owe the American people an apology. I'm sorry, officer. I will leave. I will leave right now. I'll leave right now, officer. There's no problem. I don't want any trouble. I just had to say that on behalf of 63 million Americans.
You say your piece. Thank you. Thank you, officer. What's going on? So why won't you show your face if you don't know what's going on? You don't know what's going on? What about all the women that have been trafficked through here?
I don't know.
What about all the women? What about Epstein Island? And not one person would answer a question about the censorship that's going on against conservatives. They throw me out. They don't want to be, I don't understand. I don't get it.
But overall, the people and companies Paul made subject of these videos were pretty biased. I have never seen him go after a right-leaning company or government official. Everything was focused on people or companies that are aligned with the left. I'm not saying that Paul should have left these corrupt alone, but I think he would have got a lot more credibility and viewership if he wasn't so biased in his reporting. Because unless you're an ignorant then you'll agree that when it comes to politics, neither side is 100% clean. Although Paul says he started this journalism era with quote good intentions, his dreams were once again shattered. On October 12, 2018, Paul decided he wanted to attend a speech that was being given by the founder of the Proud Boys, Gavin McInnes. When explaining this night, Paul says he went there just to film the event, not start any trouble or make a puff piece for the Proud Boys. But trouble is exactly what he got. When he first arrived at the venue, Paul was informed he wouldn't be allowed inside due to the event completely selling out, so he chose to stay outside and film there. This is where things began to take a turn for the worst. Standing across the street from Paul were self-proclaimed members of Antifa, which is a political extremist group for the left, kinda like the Proud Boys but for the other side.
Alright guys, so here we are at the meetup. Everyone is here. We're waiting for the vans to come and take us down to Portland. We're just outside in Vancouver, and all of the Proud Boys are here. God bless them all. They're like really amazing people, just brave guys that are coming out here to counter the narrative, to tell the truth about Antifa and what they're doing in Portland.
Thankfully, Paul and a few other bystanders were filming the entire event, and we can now take a look at what happened for ourselves. From what I saw in these clips, Paul was definitely antagonizing the Antifa crowd, which I don't think is something journalists should be doing, but in fairness to him, it doesn't look like he was the one to throw the first punch.
It's not a huge gathering of Antifa on the other side, but they are there. I don't know if things are going to get violent. There's a heavy police presence. Why do you hide your face? Why hide the face? No, you don't want to. All right. They don't want to ask. They don't want to ask any questions. What do you want?
I'll knock you out.
I was just recording. All I was doing was recording. Yes, sir. Officer, all I did was record. Officer, please, I didn't want to fight him. He got like this. I didn't know what he was going to do.
On the video, you could see Paul standing near the Antifa side of the street and filming them when someone on a phone comes walking directly in his path and starts a fight with him. I'm not sure at all why people were painting Paul as the bad guy in this situation. It's like they just ignored the fact that he wasn't physical with anyone up to this point. So there was no reason for this Antifa dude to start a fight with him. Normally, this would be an open and shut case. Unprovoked physical assault, caught on camera. Easy. But these aren't normal times, and Paul didn't get the outcome he expected at all. Despite the entire ordeal being caught on camera, the New York DA's office allegedly chose not to pursue charges due to a quote lack of evidence. Clearly that wasn't the case though. We saw the guy who did it and we saw what happened. But I'm not gonna push baseless conspiracy theories without any evidence. All I'm saying is it's a bit weird that the guy who was assaulted is the one that faced public shame and no one else was arrested for the incident. It wasn't just the Antifa attack or the Proud Boys fighting alongside Paul that radicalized him. It was what happened in the wake of this attack that Paul says changed him at his core. In the months following this widely covered brawl with Antifa, Paul and his family were doxxed, harassed, and threatened day in and day out for months. Not long after the doxing from Antifa, Paul made an Instagram reel directed towards BLM and it went pretty viral.
What's up, everyone? All right, so the damage is extensive. This thing, it's like every other block is just wrecked. As you can see here, the left do not like CNN either. Destroy CNN. I have some pretty good helmet cam footage. I've just had to put it on and walk because it's just, I've never seen it like this. Even after 9/11, it wasn't like this. But I'm gonna start heading home because train's coming. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I have so many pictures. I'm gonna post them really soon, all right? Thank you guys for watching. The mainstream media is not showing the American people the damage the left-wing mob can do to the United States. It is disgusting, all right? Those people are fucking animals. They are not protesters. They're rioters, okay? They're domestic terrorists, and they need to be fucking stopped. This shit was disgusting. thank you guys for watching. God bless.
Some random BLM activists actually came across the video and began to harass Paul's mother, Diane. Allegedly, these BLM members were non-stop threatening Diane over the phone for days, and then they actually showed up at her house to harass her in person. When push came to shove, none of these people making threats actually followed through, thankfully, but by this point, Paul's reputation had been absolutely destroyed. He'd been blacklisted from the Muay Thai dojo he taught at, he was fired from any jobs he had, and his family had become a legitimate target for extremists online. He had absolutely nothing left. After Paul reached what he felt like was his rock bottom, the Gypsy Crusader arc began. This new era is much different than his journalist era. Back then, Paul was still looking for an argument. He wanted to talk with the people he thought could be blamed for a lot of the wrongdoings in our society. Now, it's not about talking at all. The only goal he had was to tell people how much he despised them and their very existence.
Is it the all lives matter? I don't know how to use it.
Is it the scars?
No, it's the creepy voice.
You want to know how I got them?
You drew on yourself?
You see, I went to a Black Lives Matter protest. You see.
Riot.
And the niggas and Antifa, they grabbed me. And they held me down. They said, "Give us reparations, white man."
That's not what 15-year-olds do.
Well, whatever they do, go do it.
I mean, do you think I have, like, no life experience on me?
Yeah, you're 15. You have no life experience. You have this much life experience. Zero.
So
You
do
fucking
think
kids.
I've not experienced, like, somebody close to me death? You think I haven't experienced close to suicide? You think I haven't
You
felt
kids.
You think I don't have
No.
depression and anxiety?
No,
think I
you have none. You don't know what it is. It's all in your mind.
Oh.
It's all in your mind. You're a weak-minded person. Yes, you're a weak-minded person.
Yeah, I'm a weak-minded
Yes.
person being able to sit here and listen to you criticize.
Yeah, you're a weak-minded
Okay,
person, and look at how you're acting. Look at how you're acting.
What the hell you're acting?
How am I acting? I'm just telling you how it is.
Like a ignorant
What? Just telling you how it is? Telling you to lose some weight and be healthy? What's wrong with me? Okay, so what's wrong with me telling you you're a fat and lose some weight and fix yourself and maybe you'll look a little better? What's wrong with that? Maybe you don't like my delivery, but what I'm saying is the truth.
I'm not a fat.
Yeah, you are.
Paul first started posting as the Gypsy Crusader around late 2019 to early 2020, and he actually grew very fast despite the controversial stuff he was saying and doing. But Paul didn't realize that the attention he started receiving was going to do a lot more damage than good. When you say the things Paul was saying and get the millions of views his clips did, you're begging to be federally investigated. And as you may have guessed, Paul was in fact investigated by the feds. The earliest case of feds being involved with Paul Miller happened May 21st, 2020, within months of Paul's descent into the Gypsy Crusader character. I don't know exactly what triggered this visit from the FBI to Paul's mother's house, but if I had to guess, it would be one of the many violently themed remarks he made to anyone that wasn't white.
Hi.
What's wrong, kid?
I just got bullied for being gay.
Oh yeah? What's about to happen again?
Usually the FBI won't show up over some words you said online, but for Paul it was a bit different. He wasn't your run-of-the-mill white supremacist. He went beyond mere name-calling. He was actively calling for violence against certain people. When you combine that with his felon status and the many pictures of himself with guns online, the feds couldn't look away even if they wanted to. Roughly 1 year later, in March of 2021, Paul's home in Florida was raided by the FBI. While conducting the operation, they found over 800 rounds of ammunition and an unregistered short-barreled rifle that was missing any and all serial numbers.
I don't even know where to begin. I mean, all the time in isolation. I was in isolation for a very long time, almost a year. It was a year by myself.
Like totally alone?
Yeah, totally alone. Like it broke up. So when I first got there, I was there in isolation for like 6 months, totally alone by myself in a cell. You get 1 hour out to make a phone call or to take a shower, and then you are to go back. I had no books. I had nothing. One person sent me a Bible, which was really nice, a fan from Sweden. And I was like that for 6 months. And then from there, I got sentenced, And then they put me into the federal system, and then I went into a federal jail.
The rifle Paul was in possession of is very illegal, even for regular citizens, unless you get an ATF stamp. So the fact that Paul was a felon while in possession of this rifle makes it much, much worse. Paul solely credits this raid to his posting online, but really his posting is just what made him a blip on their radar. As was later revealed in court documents, the FBI arrested Paul because back in 2018, right after his Antifa brawl, he took a firearms safety course and applied for a concealed weapons permit. Taking the course in itself is a crime. He had to shoot the gun and be in possession of said gun to apply for the concealed carry permit. So once he applied for that permit, he really f***ed himself because it solidified that he was in possession of a gun as a felon. Less than 1 year after his arrest, in September of 2021, Paul Miller, or Gypsy Crusader, was sentenced to 41 months of incarceration and 3 years of supervised release. He was charged with possessing a firearm as a convicted felon, possessing ammunition as a convicted felon, and possessing an unregistered short-barreled rifle. Even though Paul was in federal custody, the antics didn't stop yet. Because of COVID, his sentencing was held over Zoom, and some of his quote fans were able to wiggle their way into the call. What ensued was genuinely crazy. These people started saying racial slurs, and Paul was visibly bothered by it.
Putting that on the screen.
This is, I don't know what's going on.
Despite the persona he was portraying on the internet, he told the prosecutors that he never meant for this to happen and was on the verge of tears in the courtroom, according to news reports. Regardless of his pleas, the court sent him off to prison and Gypsy Crusader vanished into thin air. Despite the large sentence looming over Paul, he was in good spirits. On a phone call from prison, he can be seen saying he thinks he'll be out in less than a year.
It's been really, really hard for me. I'm a political prisoner. You know, it's scary, dude. I have to go. They're gonna send me to prison. You know, there's nothing I could do about it. Help, but I mean, this really helps a lot because I have no one to do this stuff for me. I have no one.
Dude, I'll do anything.
So what you could do is, and again, I don't want to put you in any danger, you, your family, right? I don't want you to get in trouble or anything. So
I'm not.
But if you want to help, thanks, man. I appreciate it. So what you could do is, like, next time you come on, use a different phone so you could use your phone to go into the Telegram chat. You understand?
Yeah.
This prediction was actually somewhat correct too, but with a slight twist. Initially, Paul was let out on good behavior on July 31st, 2022, but that's not where it ended. Shortly after his release, USA Today released an article claiming Paul had been using his phone in jail. Upon further investigation, Paul was sent back to jail and served another year or so in prison. In total, Paul Miller was in prison for around 2 years in regards to his raid and arrest back in March of 2021. As of today, he still has a small social media presence, but nothing like he used to. His Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Telegram, and most other big social media pages have been banned. The only page of his that is still up as of the day I recorded this is his TikTok page and a streaming profile on some low-budget streaming platform. He's still spreading the same message and keeping the same style of content on Monkey App. So it would seem the opinions he expressed in the courtroom before his sentencing weren't that sincere. Considering all the attention Paul got, I highly doubt he'll ever be back on mainstream social media, and he most likely will fade out of existence once again. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to see my source for this video, check out my Twitter, which is at redmanspeaksyt. I'll have all the links posted there. I love you, have a good one, peace.